If there was a trophy for the best performing player throughout 2023, no doubt I would give it Alfajer. 2 out of 4 tournaments this year, he was the highest rated player, which shows his dominant but consistent performance. So how did this 18-year-old kid farm the Valorant Pro scene, and how did he manage to find great consistency at the top level? Alfajer isn't your regular smooth aimer inside of Valorant. Generally, smooth aimers will use a tracking motion to adjust onto their target. However, Alfajer will flick onto most of his targets instead, despite his low sensitivity. He plays on 0.225, 800 DPI, and he has gotten very comfortable with his sense, as you can see him moving around a lot more than an average low sense player. However, Alfajer is still classed as a smooth aimer, as his crosshair is steady the majority of the time. Alpha will mostly use a burst technique, but he will spray in certain situations and has implemented spraying into his playstyle, which we'll cover later on in the video. Flicking is a huge part of his playstyle, and you can see him prioritize this by looking at his warm-up. You'll see him shooting 30 bots on hard mode to practice his ability to quickly flick onto different targets. This warm-up is great for building muscle memory, as that's the #1 component for consistent flicks. I noticed that Alpha is much more comfortable and confident at long range, and you'll see him occasionally position himself on the map where he can take a longer range engagement. For example, watch how far back his positioning is in this clip. I'm pretty sure his team will have called that the enemies might push out of showers. However, this is a very deep position to watch it from. You can see many clips where he's positioned like this, and even though he is still great at close range, he definitely prefers long range fights due to his sense being slow and therefore easier to control. Alpha has actually got very good at spray transfers, which is very important for his playstyle. As a sentinel main, there are many situations where he's holding a site down, and usually many enemies will try to flood him at once to take site control, and therefore his spray transfers must be good for either denying site control or getting multiple kills before he dies. Alpha's calm and precise aiming style shines in scenarios where other players might panic, and this is a big reason why Alpha can stay so consistent. For example, you can see that there's a raise nade and a breach stun to flush out Alpha's position, but he keeps calm, and with his crosshair steady, it allows him to get a kill while being stunned. On top of this, not panicking will reduce any extra missed shots, which will make it easier for him to aim. This is a great example of taking your time within a fight. Notice how calm he is when he swings. He doesn't spray with the ghost or do any panic shots. Instead, he uses 3 bullets in a fight that actually took him quite a while to adjust. And the reason why he won this fight is that his initial swing made it hard for the killjoy to adjust. And also, he made one very slight movement in between adjusting himself, whereas the killjoy crouched, making it much easier for Alpha to get the kill. His aim fits the perfect criteria for great sheriff aim. Why? Well, his sense allows him to be steady, which makes it easy to stay on head level. The way he doesn't panic in fights is great, allowing him to stay calm after seeing his target, and his consistent flicks allows him to adjust to the head almost instantly, making him pretty much the perfect player for this weapon. Alpha has mastered movement, as you can see him use his movement to help correct his aim. For example, watch this clip as the raise flies past his crosshair, and he knows if he just moves to the right, he'll be able to reposition his crosshair without having to move his mouse. Players who have a low sense tend to do this more frequently, as they generally have steadier aim. Alpha may only be able to do this in certain situations, but small things like this help him thrive as a player. Another thing I want to highlight is the way he clears angles. He has become very disciplined at always using this one technique to make sure he doesn't get caught off guard when someone is holding an angle. He makes sure to stop on each different angle, clearing the space bit by bit at a slow pace as he focuses on good crosshair placement. And notice when he clears angles like this, he loves to crouch right as he swings, which can throw his enemy's crosshair placement off, as people usually have their best crosshair placement when holding an angle. This stops Alpha directly swinging into his enemy's crosshair and gives him that extra second to shoot first, as his enemy has to adjust. Not only does he crouch when swinging, but also when holding an angle. For example, when you're attacking on Pearl, you're most likely going to clear this common angle with good crosshair placement, and so Alpha crouches here so that he isn't standing directly in the Sky's crosshair when she peeks. You'll actually find Alpha holding angles a lot, as he's quite a patient player. This is mainly because he does play the sentinel role, and he has adapted into this more patient and passive playstyle. He's quite the opposite of many players I've covered on this channel, where he prefers to hold angles instead of being aggressive and forcing fights. Fnatic Alfajer has put up some crazy performances this year and has even been nominated for Esport Player of the Year. At only 18 years old, who knows what he can achieve within his career. If you want to learn how to aim like PRX something, then you can click here. If not, it's been your boy Critical. Peace out.